MTC Namibia successfully trials 5G in Namibia, now following the lifting of the moratorium on 5G by the government and the successful allocation of the 5G spectrum by the Community Regulatory Authority of Namibia, CRAN, to the telco players in Namibia. The country's digital driver, MTC, in collaboration with Huawei Technology, has today conducted Namibia's official and first ever 5G trial, clocking a speed of 1.4 gigabyte per second. We are now joined by MTC's Manager for Corporate Communications, John Ekongo. John, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Good evening to the viewers, and thank you very much for the invitation.
Well, John, provide an overview of MTC's initiative to conduct a trial of 5G in Namibia, including the objectives and, of course, the scope of this trial.
Well, thank you. Perhaps I should start with the latter part of your question. 5G actually, on a global scale, it is no longer not so new any longer. So 5G, you're talking about 2019, around about 2020. In Namibia, obviously, for reasons that are a lot of health concerns, reasons some are policy issues, we had to wait a little bit longer. Now, what is the objective basically? The objective, obviously, as technology, there's always upgraded versions. And 5G is basically, in layman's term, it's an upgraded version of what you're currently using. Now, why did MTC do the demonstration this past Monday? It's basically to tell industry, as well as our stakeholders, that a future 5G look-alike economy will be how. And from an MTC perspective, we did that as an assessment and readiness assessment, basically, to assess our capacities and when a commercial rollout plan will be available for when ultimately there is a go-to-market strategy for 5G in the country.
So what is the motivation for MTC to invest in testing this technology in Namibia, and what are the expected outcomes or benefits for the company and its customers?
So obviously, firstly, the benefits are massive, because now you have to remember that when you're talking about 5G, you're talking about a technology that can do a lot of other things that 4G could not have been able to do. So in the first place, obviously, what is obviously benefit whenever any other technology that comes around is speed and the massive amounts of data that you can do. Now, in the modern era, we're talking about issues such as augmented reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. Now, when anybody explains to you what is Internet of Things, it's sort of like a sense of utopia about what the Internet you can do. Now, just maybe in context of historical background to understand, 3 decades ago, everybody was pretty much comfortable and happy that you just have a phone, and that was 1G. You call, and that's it. That was mobility, and that's why it's called a mobile phone. And then come 2G, a couple of years later, you now have a phone that can do an SMS and that can do an MMS. And then we thought, wow, technology, and now I can send 160 characters via SMS, and that's good. And then move to 3G, where the phone has become no longer just a phone, it's either now a feature phone or a smart device where you can do anything, load up an email, send an email, respond to something, and so forth. And 4G becomes even much more better given the speed. Now, 5G is similar, much better, but with more speed. As an example, currently you have on 4G, you get anything between 20 to 100 megabits per second for downloads, and anything between 2 to 10 megabytes per second for uploads. Now, in layman's term, I know it's technical languages. So downloads is that for the common man, you spend more time using the internet to get something out, so you want a faster speed to get something out. Right. For upload is when you want to use a device to connect to the internet and put something onto the internet. For example, in your industry, the NBC, they want to have an upload speed that's faster so that you can load your stuff on your digital broadcasting channels using whatever medium that is available. So it's basically speed, but it will also offer many opportunities for industries that use large data. We're talking about mining, we're talking about remote working capabilities, or, for example, if the Ports Authority of Namibia wants to go fully automated You need a network that is fast and reliable, and you need something that can handle that massive data, and that's where 5G stands for.
Right. So delve a little bit into the trial conducted and what specific locations or regions were involved in the testing.
All right. So at this point and at this stage, the trial was just conducted in the capital city, and it was a rooftop site mounted at our Olympia headquarters, and that was the condition to which the licensing that we're trying to search now from CRAN was given. So now, in terms of telcos and in terms of the need to go, if you want to introduce any technology in the country, there are certain regulatory conditions that you need to adhere to, and some of those conditions are now what CRAN tells us to say, okay, if you're doing this test, run a test for a couple of months, and then let us know what those results are, and then based on those results and the assessments of those results, that is what will then inform us technically now to know what type of go-to-market strategy we're going to have, what type of commercial rollout plan that we're going to have, and what is the business cases that we want to do for 5G. So to answer your question, it was one site only at Olympia, and the Monday event was merely then to demonstrate that, look gentlemen, look ladies, look captain of industries, you will be able to get this type of speed as opposed to the current speed that you're getting on 4G.
Well, talk to us then about the key findings or the insights that emerged from this trial, and how do these findings then inform MTC's future plans for 5G deployment?
So I think your question is very paramount to the fact that as MTC, as early as 2018 and 2019, we already gone with a plan to become a digital service solutions provider. Our resolve in the historical context that we've been known as a mobile network operator, because we only involve in voice and mobility, and so. But over the time, we have resolved to understand that digital solution provider means that we are now in enterprise, we are now in large data, we are now also not forgetting a traditional model of servicing the customer like you and me in home enterprise. So, what were those findings? Again, the findings that informed on us is that one thing that we wanted to realize that the speed of 1.4 and 1.8 gigabytes that we realized on the day. Now, mind you, I'm talking about gigabytes here, not Mbps, not megabits per second, gigabits per second. So that already tells you that it's actually 18 times faster than what you have on 4G currently now. Now, what is it that you're going to do with that speed? It's a massive thing. You're talking about you can probably run a power grid on a 5G network. You can probably run, those in the financial industry sectors can probably run their large data banks in those. You can do any data server that you want to run on, and then you can come into us. So again, this tie in well with our mandate of wanting to be a digital service solutions provider. So you don't have to do anything anymore by buying external hard drives and servers and things like that. We can put you in our cloud using our 5G connectivity network and make sure that you receive the best of the connectivity that you want. And what does that mean? It means more data at less time and more productivity and improved capacity in terms of your operational mandates.
So at this stage, how does MTC now plan to, communicate the results of the results and the outcomes of the 5G trials to its stakeholders, including, of course, its customers, its regulators, and also to the general public?
So that is an ongoing concern. So what we're then trying to realize now is that we need to segment our customer go-to strategy, and we also need to understand what is the niche market that is out there. Also, these are informed by the trends that is happening in terms of a national development agenda. We understandable now that Namibia has been on the cusp of major natural extractive resources energy, and green hydrogen and green and clean fuels. So that is some of the industries that we want to service in going into towards in the future, because you have to remember that if there's massive of Internet of Things, machine-to-machine communications, so that is an environment where we want to go into as well. And without divulging much in terms of what our strategy will be, some of those concerns are that we need to make sure that because of our presence and our footprints as the largest DSSP provider and solutions in the country, we are almost everywhere. And that means that how do we tap into that market to make sure that we are remaining advantageous and we have the edge over our competitors. And the results now to communicate, obviously, as an ongoing concern, we always inform CRAN. And the determination is then made by the regulatory authority to say that whatever products that you have to go, these are the products that you have to put into the market. And we do not put those products in the market by ourselves. In fact, whatever solutions and products are put in the market must get a go-ahead from the regulatory authority of Namibia, which is CRAN.
Well, what role then does MTC see itself playing in the development and the rollout of 5G infrastructure and the services in Namibia, and how does this fit into the company's overall strategy?
I think it fits perfectly into our overall company strategy. And I think there is no denial about the fact that we've made our intentions very clear from the start, that we want to be, if not the only solutions provider in this country. And our strategy, therefore, is informed by the fact that the consummate consumer that utilize our products now, whether it's a subscriber like me and you, whether it's a corporate entity like the NBC, wants one thing, and they want flexibility, they want convenience, and they want comfortability at a price point that meets their budget. And that is always the balance that you need to do. Now, you have to understand, obviously, telcos, the infrastructure, the investments are massive. And to put in the cost of investment are usually rated into US dollars. And whenever there is an upsurge in currency fluctuation, that affects us as well. But be that as it may, we understand what a connected world means to Namibia, and we cannot lag behind. And as I alluded in my earlier first stanza, is that we are 4 years behind, and we need to do a lot of catch-up. Many other countries are now talking 6G. We are here at 5G still, but that's a story for another day. So ultimately, it is for us to tell the consumers that as you have been with us for the last 28 years, remain being with us for the next 28 years, because we remain to be pioneers in our field.
Well, thank you so much for speaking to us, John, and for availing that information to us.
Thank you very much.
Well, that has been John Ekongo, the manager for corporate communications at MTC, and we have been talking about MTC successfully trialing the 5G in Namibia. Well,